came in Tororo when I was young, around the age of 4 years. I stayed with my maternal mother, whom I call my aunt, and she's the one who took care of me and made me grow up to what I am by the grace of God. I do carpentry and joinery currently as my work in this town to earn a living.
I'm a Msamia by tribe. I'm a born of Busia, but my father left Busia and bought in Soroti, so I take Soroti as my village.
I met my wife in 2014. We came together, we engaged ourselves, but then we had not officially got married.
But I told him, as a Christian, this is not the best way of staying. You need to go home. I introduce you to my parents. They know you. We go to church, we wed, then we shall stay officially.
I had no job as a person. She had just got work at Tasso, of which she was just volunteering. So we were suffering, real suffering as a family. And to make matters worse, my children whom she met me with went on the streets to start begging for what to eat, because I couldn't provide, because I didn't have. I have never lived such a life. But to see that I can end up eating entula for a month without changing sauce. This is the life I had never passed.
This boy actually would go to the bush and look for those small firewoods. So we would use that, we cook untula, and we would just boil. Cut, put in water, boil. Then if it comes like with 1,000, we buy a half kilo of cassava flour. And that's what we could eat with the children and we sleep, and that day goes. I could really encourage him and I could tell him, why don't we go to church? We pray and we believe God. God can do good things. What? So I could convince him at times. And since he was someone quiet, he couldn't tell me that I will go do what. He will just say, okay, mommy, I will see. So it took some time until one day when he woke up and was like, we go to church.
So I was welcomed in the church and we started praying together up to the time when we went for an introduction in Soroti. Out of that church, it stood with us through contributions and other things, and the marriage, and we came back.
Of course, as you know, every woman, that when you get married, you want to see the fruits of your womb. When we started staying together, before we shifted to Roro, when we were still in Bali, I conceived. Now I just got something like malaria, and the pregnancy came out. So that one I took it like, maybe it was malaria. I played it to treat. So I just said, God, next time better. But again, after a short while, I conceived. Now that one I was so careful. I'm like, in case I feel anything, I should rush to the hospital. Now this one, I did not fall sick, I did not do what. But I think that day I did a lot of work. She also came out.
I was so hurt to what is happening to my wife. And these are not just mere miscarriages that it comes out easy. It involves the finances, it involves a lot of pain to the wife and even me myself. When I see her passing through that pain, I feel a lot of pain in me.
Now I started getting worried. And you know, as a woman, I was like, now maybe this thing will not work for me. So I could talk with my colleagues, and they would tell me, Joan, don't give up, time will come, you'll get a baby, what? But inside me, I just felt nothing will happen because I'd lost all the hopes. Now, and the time I would just say, this time I don't want a baby, that's the time I would conceive. Now I conceived. The other guy was a very expensive man. Only seeing him, consultation is 20,000. When I entered, he told me pay 20,000. I paid. It was like, to work on you, stitch you, do everything. We want 800,000.
She one time lost hope and told me, Daddy, I think it is high time I should go back to our home because I feel like I'm not adding anything to your family. I'm not giving you a child, and yet you have wedded me. You have married me officially, you have wedded me, and I'm not giving you a child. So I better go back to our home because such a situation, I cannot contain it. I told her, either you have a child or you don't have a child, you belong to me. You are my wife. I vowed to stay with you in any situation, and I will not break that vow. I made a vow, and together we shall live, either with a child or without a child.
I had women who could at times pray with me. They could tell me, Joan, remember the story of Anna and Penina. Penina could laugh at Anna, but one day Anna prayed that, even I understand it, not that the Bible says that it was who? The priest who? Elisa who asked her, when will you stop getting drunk? And she was like, I'm not drunk, but I'm pouring all my heart. So I was like, God, if you did it for her, I know this is the right time, you should do it for me also.
When we read Ecclesiastes chapter 3 from verse 1, where the Bible tells us that every time, everything has its own time. And I am encouraged with that. I told her that in every time, in everything on this earth, it has its own time. Even you bearing a child on earth here, or carrying a child, that time is going to come. The time when you will smile, the time when you will forget all the pain you went through.
I talked with one of my colleagues. He's a doctor. Actually, he specializes in children. He told me, Joan, this time I pray to God and I believe God will do a miracle to you. So when I conceived, I told him, Simon, I'm pregnant. And he told me, now this time, you go and buy this medicine, then you start doing what? Injecting yourself. So I bought insulin. I would inject myself twice a day. I inject in the morning, inject in the evening, morning and evening. And he told me, you're going to do this until the time when that baby is mature. And when they introduced that program of overnights for 6 months in church, I told him this time I should not even miss even one day. I could fall sick, but still I will go. We would pray and I would pray. I told God, this time when this one comes out, don't give me another child.
Every Friday, we were to be in church, praying for that pregnancy. And I resorted to be going for every day in the morning. Before I do anything, I had to go to church on the altar in church. Knelt down, prayed to God, asked God to have favor on us. In 2021 is when I was in MTI. I talked to Sister Grace, she was so much encouraging. She was my model of encouragement. And we kept on praying. And what brought much more encouragement when I picked the GNPI projector. The first movie I brought in my house was the movie of Ariada. When I showed it to my family members about when Ariada was suffering and the uncle could not even help and give her even the land, the food the man Ariada had planted in the garden. He had to chase him out of the garden. But the wife to Ariada encouraged him. He told him, no, God is our witness. God knows us. When I watched that movie, I went and flashed back. I said, this is a true story on my side. It is as if they have seen me and they are playing a movie besides the challenges I went through. See? So I kept on watching that movie whenever I could come in my house, whenever I could go outreaches with that projector. The first movies I could show is Ariada, because I wanted to encourage the community. The movie of Ariada really encouraged us.
Now when I started feeling the labor pains, I started feeling the pain. I went to the hospital. When I reached hospital, they told me, come. They did the scan and they told me the baby is okay. Then where is the pain coming from? So I did what? I said, okay, they gave me some drugs I took and they told me I should have enough bed rest. So I could sleep. Actually, I could not do any work. But now, when it made 7, I could feel pain. It was on and off until one day when Mr. told me we go to the hospital. It wasn't easy. Because I first went for a scan, they told me, your baby is too small, that the moment they operate it out, the moment you push it out, it's just going to die automatically. I said, what should I do? So there was a doctor, he encouraged us and told us, you people be patient. At least we push for 2 weeks to make 7.5 months. But now the labor was already there. So we said, what are we going to do? They tried to put me on medication or to do what, but the thing was not doing what? The thing was just intensifying until now one day. After them discussing, trying all possible ways and things failed. And they told me, we have to remove the baby. If we don't remove the baby, you might die or the baby. Now they told me first go for a scan, now the last one. I went, they told me the baby, there's no heartbeat for the baby.
So I went to a certain place in the hospital where they had put a fellowship area. I went and knelt down in that midnight, in that time, at around 1 in the night, alone. I told God, are you not the God who gave Abraham Isaac? Are you not the God who removed the children of Israel from Egypt out of suffering? You passed them through the wilderness where there was no food, and you gave them manna to eat. I told him, God, if you all did this for those people, and later on they managed to reach the promised land, I told him, God, no. You are a God who has answered people's prayers, and many people testify. I want this one to be a testimony today. When this lady comes out of theater, let the child come out when he's alive. Let the doctor wonder what happened.
Now when they took me to theater to the labor suit. They told me I need to push because the baby is too small. They don't need to operate. I was there from 4, 5 till morning. Now when the thing had refused to come out and they were like, now Joan, what we are going to do? There was a doctor, he said, now it is time we should operate you. So when they operated, I looked at my baby, not crying, not shaking. They just put the baby there on the what? I was like, what is this baby alive? Now the nurse came and turned her. Now she then slapped her back. Then she sneezed and started crying. And they told me, Joan, your baby is very alive, but it's too small. You're not going to carry her. We are taking her where? The incubator. Me, I was like, fine, as long as the baby is alive. But in the incubator, it wasn't. It's the first day when they told me to go and check on the baby. I couldn't believe that it's a baby. It was something small. But I thank God. We were there for 3 months, but finally my baby came out. My husband was so supportive to me. He wasn't like, maybe I cannot see that all men are like that. Because if it was like to be another man, he would be someone who would have given up so fast. Because it was so challenging, him being with me in the hospital.
We had suggestions of names. We looked at the child who came after Job's suffering was called JEMIMAH. And I looked at how my wife and the way we suffered during that time. We had to name this child JEMIMAH because of the suffering we had also gone through.
We are too happy that I'm seeing just joy. Even the elder brothers and sisters, they are really very happy because of that baby. And everyone who could laugh at me now. And me, what shocks me, people who laugh at me most are the ones who love JEMIMAH most. Yeah, even at our home, when I went with the baby, people couldn't believe that people had to travel from where they are to come really and prove if JEMIMAH is a baby. To the extent that even some people were saying, no, that baby they just bought, they have adopted the baby.
But whoever sees that child as a miracle child. She can jump, and she's a child who does not cry anyhow. She's jolly, laughty, she laughs all the time. She has exactly strengthened our family. As I earlier said, that we believed that we are one, and we have not gone out of that. We are living a happy family. And that thing has given us grace. It has showed very many people that unity is something very important. And another thing is, when you love somebody, do not just mention on your lips, but let it come right from your heart. Love is something that comes from the heart, because it is the fruit of the Spirit. And that Spirit living in us, if we don't love one another, that means we are not united. We are not at peace. So without love, you cannot stay in peace. Love is something very important. We have moved together with my wife. We have loved each other. There are some challenges that come by them. Whole house challenges are there, but love remains constant. Love remains there.
What I can say, or what I can tell women going through the same situation, that it all takes patience and trust in God. Yeah, because it is not easy, and you know God's timing is the best. Whenever you trust unto God, cannot let us down.